Hey everybody, welcome back to my Power Platform YAML Snippets tip series. Now today we're diving into gallery layering. Think of it like crafting and cutting out pieces of digital construction paper, layering it on top of one another, just without all that messy Elmer's glue and glitter that seems to never come off of your fingers and clothes. It's much cleaner when you're just dealing with layering. Now, this isn't just a YAML snippets thing. You can apply this to galleries, you can apply it to screens, all kinds of things. It's just a nice, neat way to show them working together. We'll talk more about it. Let's take a look. All right, before we get into it, let me just tell you a little bit about me. My name is David Warner. I work at Quizzitive, and I'm a Microsoft MVP and a Microsoft Certified Trainer, which basically means I love talking about this stuff a lot. So if you'd like to see more of what I do, you can check out my site at warner.digital or come connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's collaborate. I'm always looking to share ideas, updates, and I'm probably going to share way too many purple and heart emojis. Aww. Yep, that's right. I love the sound effects too. And hey, if you find this video helpful or even mildly entertaining, tap that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments how you're planning to use what you learned. I genuinely love hearing and collaborating with other developers that are putting some of these things into action. And hey, by the way, I run a newsletter where I kind of round out some tips and information around other Microsoft 365 and Power Platform news and content in one easy, not spammy email. So I'll include a link in the chat. All right, if you're not familiar with YAML snippets and Power Apps, they basically let you copy and reuse entire controls in clean, readable code. It's super handy. Now, I go into more detail on how they work in the very first video of this series, which I'll link out for you. So if you're new to them, you might want to check out that first. Otherwise, let's get to the tip. Now, there are a few good reasons to think about layers when designing your galleries. First, visual stacking helps you build more polished, intentional layouts. You can get super creative with how things are layered, even hiding them and letting them animate and appear at a later point. Second, if you ever share your app or export a snippet, these layers survive the copy and paste YAML portability perfectly. And while this tip isn't exclusive to YAML, snippets benefit big time from it by making your layout more portable, reliable, and polished. Okay, so let's get into a demo. Get ready for a crash course in Power Apps Feng Shui. You don't even need a degree in interior design, you just need a solid understanding of gallery layering. So let's dive in. Okay, so here we are back in Power Apps Studio. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to cover two things in this particular tip, right? Just a review of the fact that when we include things like assets in our galleries, and I'm talking about data set imagery, I'm talking about assets like images of SVG, something that's going to decorate our gallery items, right? Not the data set images. Like, for example, here we've got data set images that are representing each of our items in our particular gallery. That's fine. So we want to make sure that those are independent, modular, they're copy and pastable. We'll review that real briefly because I've got a whole nother tip that's dedicated to it. But the primary benefit of this tip, and this applies to more than just YAML, by the way, and I'll create even more videos for it, but I did want to highlight it, is understanding how the layering works within the gallery. When you combine the understanding of the layering, along with the fact that you can bake in complete SVG images using the XML, or even maybe images using base64 like PNG data or photographs or JPEGs or whatever, convert those to base64 and you can include them and they can very much highly decorate your gallery and make it look better. So let's take a look, right? So in this particular example here, again, just basic data inside of my gallery. I've got my description, my title, and my image, right? This is basic gallery stuff. I'm baking in the data set, right? So it will completely be able to copy and paste into a brand new item. And so when I go over and I look at the framed gallery, so this is a non-framed gallery, just basic. I go and look at my screen here with framed gallery. What I've done is I've included an SVG here as my frame, right? Now, there could be additional elements that kind of dress up and beautify your gallery. In this case, I'm just using this as a frame. And what you'll notice is that it's at the bottom, right? Now, it's important to note that the order in which you have things on the screen, right? So for example, I've got my image first, then my title, then my description. That is not the order that it actually looks like inside of my gallery. In fact, description comes first, then title, then image for that particular image there, and then my frame is all the way at the bottom. Now, it doesn't make any difference. They're not connected to one another. What's important to understand is that the ordering over here inside of our tree view is layering. Now think of pieces of paper, right? If you've cut up pieces of paper and laid them on top of one another, wherever a cutout of a particular piece of paper is, you'll see the piece of paper below it, right? Or think of puzzles, the way the puzzles work. You're cutting out pieces of cardboard and they're fitting together. Now, in a piece of puzzle, if it's got a notch in it, and you layer that on top of another flat piece of paper or a puzzle piece, you'll see through it, right? Because it's a cutout. Same thing applies especially for SVGs. All right, so what does that mean? What does it value for us? Okay, let me show you an example. If we take my description here, right? So I've got my description. It's a basic text field, right? Just a label. It's got no background color or anything like that. So let's change that. Let me come down here and let me give it a background color of, let's do white. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a text color of purple, right? I got to get my colors in. And then I'm going to give it a border color of orange, so that way it's a little easier to see. All right, so now when did it give me that border color? Yep, oh, I got no border size. Ha, let's give it a border size, right? Okay, there we go. And then let's give it a little bit of padding just to make it look a little bit cleaner, right? Okay, cool. So what I've got is a container for my data. Now, as I mentioned, it's layering, right? So theoretically now what's happening is that when I move this label down physically inside of my template, of my gallery, it will layer on top of this little Lego frame, right? So I'm gonna come here, I'm just gonna start dragging it down. We see it's on top of it. Now I'm gonna leave it a little bit there because it's partially on top, it's partially, or I should say it's partially above the area here, right? So I've got some open space here that we know is a cutout, right? Think of those puzzle pieces. Now, what would happen if I move the order of my description all the way to the bottom? Well, guess what's going to happen? Now it's covered up because my frame SVG is on top of, from a layering perspective, right? It's on top of my box, my text label box. So if I were to take my label and I move it all the way down, kind of below it, you don't see it at all. Why? Again, because it's layered underneath of it. It has nothing to do with the order in which things are here. It has everything to do with the order in which things are here. Now, again, this is not specific to YAML, by the way, everybody. I'm going to do a whole bunch of collection of examples and samples that you can all get for free on this and put them in the community repos. And I'll do other videos specific to this that talks about some of the benefits and the ways in which you can utilize this understanding. But I feel like this is a very underutilized feature that is available to us within galleries. Now it's underneath there, right? So if I were to start moving it up, now you see it kind of uncovering itself, right? Or I guess you could say it's popping out of from behind. And because my SVG is not just a box, right? Because it's only painting where actually imagery is, I'm able to see in and around this, right? So imagine if I were to put a timer in here or do something on my gallery that then like makes this kind of animate up and be discovered and all that. You can have a lot of fun with it and create some interactive experiences that makes it look like it's rising from the ashes or it's bubbling up or it's moving up and animating into place or something like that. Make it an on select event or something like that, right? Super full of options, tons of capabilities, but the first and most fundamental understanding that you have to have is understanding how this is working and the layering capability. Now this is just one item, right? I'm just simply using one item. I've got my my frame here, right? And so if I move it back below description and now move, and now move description, let me click that, all the way down. Now it's sitting on top of it, right? So we do see it because it's on top of or layered on top of my frame, right? So super cool. Be on the lookout for even more examples, samples, videos on this. Again, I just wanted to highlight this because it is still super cool and useful in the context of galleries and YAML snippets. Because if you do start combining a bunch of these little graphical assets that aren't part of the data set, but you want to use them to decorate your gallery or anything else for that matter, then you're going to want to bake them into the control, in this case the gallery, and you want it to be copy and pastable. You want those assets, in this case the SVG, to be independent. And you could use other things, right? I'm just using one example here, one thing to frame it up, but there's lots of other ways you could do it. And then when someone copies and pastes this into a brand new app, everything looks beautifully. It's not dependent on an external file, and that's part of the tip here too, but really it's understanding the layering. So let me know what you think in the chat, in the comments for this video, and reach out to me if you want to chat more. You're going to see even more videos and more samples and all that jazz stuff. I'm beating the dead horse there. right? So let's see if we, there we go. My buttons are working. Beating the dead horse. And so we're going to see even more about it. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Before we wrap up, let me show you one more amazing power move. There is a Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community GitHub repo where you can browse, use, and even contribute back to a number of snippets for free. Seriously, free, as in $0. Cost you nothing. You absolutely can use them infinitely. And when you contribute back, say, for example, you create your own snippet and give it back to the community, you don't just get those warm, fuzzy feelings, although, hey, those are good too, but you can actually earn Credly badges, like you see here, Snippet Sorcerer, Power Contributor, or Community Contributor. Now, these are great for your blog, for your resume, for LinkedIn. Show them to your manager, show them to your clients, because they prove that you are contributing to the community and you are making a difference for the entire global community. And hey, send it to mom. She might not know what a YAML snippet is, but she'll know you're awesome. The links are here on the screen. I'll include them in the YouTube video description. So please get involved. Check them out.